What's up guys, Artem MMA Analysis here, and I'm going to be talking about something that I haven't done for a very long time, and that is actually a full fight card review and results video. So let's first talk about my picks. I went 9-4 overall. Low key though, could have gone 8-5 because I do think the Marina Rodriguez Zhaonan Yan fight could have gone the other way pretty easily, but and same with the Nurmagomedov fight as well. That I don't know, that maybe could have gone the other way, but I was pretty sure Nurmagomedov won that fight. But we'll talk about that later, man. Let's see. I was very right on some fights, and I was very wrong on others. So we talk about the first fight of the night, man. Dustin Jacoby versus Mikhail Alexey. I said this was going to be a stand-up fight, and for the most part it was. There was quite a bit of clinch control for Dustin Jacoby. One thing, though, that he didn't do was throw any leg kicks, as I said would be his key to this fight. Mikhail Alexey, I don't think he actually threw a kick the whole fight. He's pretty much only boxing when it comes to the stand-up game. Dustin Jacoby's a kickboxer, got glory kickboxing experience. He said that he was injured, though. He actually injured both legs prior to the fight, which is why we didn't really see any kicking from him. But he did get a good win over Mikhail Alexey, and he probably could be looking up the rankings personally. Wasn't the most impressive performance whatsoever, but he does have some pretty good built-in excuses there. He was injured going into the fight. He won the fight 29-28. I thought he looked very slow in the first round, as he always does. Mikhail Alexey capitalized on that. Did hurt him a little bit in that first round. Dustin Jacoby came back, had a strong second round, had a strong third round. I thought the fight was relatively close overall, but Dustin Jacoby did win 29-28. Split decision on this one, man. I don't know. I don't know how you can give Devonte Smith 2 rounds. I think it was the third round which he had success in, and why this is a split decision, I don't know. Ludovic Klein just had Devonte Smith number all day. Devonte Smith really showed that his durability is definitely something to be desired. Ludovic Klein had him hurt multiple times. I think he actually wobbled him with a head kick. Was the end of the first round, I think, and then he hurt him in the second round multiple times as well. Personally, I think that there's an argument for a 30-27 for Ludovic Klein. He definitely dominated the fight. I don't really know how you could give Devonte Smith 2 rounds. As it comes to Ludovic Klein, though, he looked awesome at 155. Maybe the weight cut to 145 does hurt him quite a bit. He looked shredded at 155. He looked awesome. One thing that I do worry about, though, is maybe he could actually make a run at 155, but I do think he's not the biggest 155 pounder, but man, he's built, bro. He's so built at 155. Be interesting to see if he stays at 155 or moves up to 145 from now on. Tim Elliott versus Ullanbekov. This was a dirty fight, man. This was a dirty fight from Tim Elliott. He was using some old veterans moves. A lot of people are going to be complaining about those knees to the head. I think there were 2 knees to the head that were, or maybe one in the first round, one in the second round, that were quite, I think definitely 2 in the first round, were quite controversial. Tim Elliott needed to get Ullanbekov in the head when it seemed like he was down live, but in the replay, man, they were barely legal. Like, they were illegal, but like they were this close to being illegal knees. I think the commentary kind of talked about it. Let me make sure my face cam's on it. It is. The commentary was talking about it. They were saying it is legal knees, but they're still controversial knees. He was also holding the glove off to get Ullanbekov in the clinch when he landed a few shots, and there was an accidental headbutt in there as well. The accidental headbutt, though, you can't really blame Tim Elliott. That was an accidental headbutt, but the holding the gloves thing, yeah, man, that's pretty dirty. That's some dirty veteran moves. I think Michael Bisping was saying that's what they used to do back in the old days when the ref wasn't looking. They used to hold on to the gloves. Either way, though, I do think he did win the first 2 rounds and then eventually moved on to win the fight. Argument for to get Ullanbekov to get a 10-8 round in the third round, though. Honestly, potentially. But as I said, man, I did pick to get Ullanbekov to win this fight. This was my first fight that I got wrong, but I did say Tim Elliott was going to be a dog in there, and definitely not. To get Ullanbekov was definitely not a parlay piece. He's not. There's a reason why everyone's talking about these Russian guys in Khabib's camp, but they don't talk about Tagir, and I think that was kind of showcased in this fight here. Tim Elliott was out wrestling Tagir for the first 2 rounds before he gassed out at the end. Yeah, I mean, Tim Elliott had a great first round. He was kind of doing his thing, doing his wedge striking, jumping up on one leg, but the thing with that is it eventually gasses you out, you know what I mean? Takes up a lot of energy, and I think that's what happened in the third round, and Tagir was able to win that third round, but Khabib, man, they were not happy with Tim Elliott. That was definitely some dirty work by Tim Elliott. It was a dirty fight. Do I think he blatantly cheated? Potentially, yes, especially with those glove grabs that he was doing, but I don't know, maybe it was just a little bit of bending the rules. It's kind of hard to tell on that one there, but yeah, I mean, I was kind of right with the prediction. I did pick Tegea, but I was also kind of right saying that Tim Elliott was a dog. There's definitely a bit of controversy around this fight, though. Tim Elliott using some veteran moves and bending the rules, at least, I guess you could say. Potentially breaking some rules there. Usman Nurmagomedov versus Brian Kelleher. The fight didn't last very long. Usman Nurmagomedov had a great post-fight speech. He actually wants to fight next week, apparently. If someone else wants to jump in and fight him next week, I'll assume that it will be at 145. I don't think Umar would want to make a cut to 135 in a week, but he looked great. He looked really good. He was beating Brian Kelleher on the stand-up. He took him down and then he submitted him. Pretty classic Russian like these Dagestani fighters, I guess you could say. Nurmagomedov kind of fight, except Umar's built different though. Umar, you could argue he's actually better on the feet than in the grappling. That's something that's crazy to say, but if someone told me that, I wouldn't really be too opposed to it. Umar Nurmagomedov is legit stand-up game. He's throwing a lot of kicks. Brian Kelleher just wasn't really able to figure him out on the feet, and by the time he did, Umar took him down and submitted him with not too much resistance. So I did say Brian Kelleher was going to be a dog in there. Unfortunately, he did disappoint me quite a bit. Brian Kelleher is pretty legit. He did look like he was taking his gloves off though. It was weird. He was just taking the gloves off to get them off early because maybe they're annoying to wear or something, or they're just getting sweaty or something. But he was taking the gloves off during the official decision, so I thought maybe he was going to announce a retirement, but he didn't. So I'm just wondering where Brian Kelleher is going to be in his career. I do think he's still a dog. I still think he's a guy to look out for. I like Brian Kelleher, man. I am actually a fan of him. But yeah, definitely picked Umar to win this fight, and he did look really good. He looked like the minus 700, minus 800 fighter that he was. Another fight which I'm embarrassed by this one, guys. I got the pick wrong, and I got like the prediction of how the fight would play out completely wrong. So Marina Moro, she may be it's a master of sport, I think, and in boxing and kickboxing. She's also a national Ukrainian boxing coach. But she decided to grapple with Maria Agapova in the fight. Whole fight took place on the ground. So yeah, I was so embarrassed by this fight, to be honest, guys. For my pick, because it was so wrong. I said the fight was going to take place on the feet because Marina Moroz is their boxing background. Maria Agapova is more of a kickboxer. Marina Moroz took the fight to the ground, and she looked awesome doing it. Let's be honest. She took the fight to the ground. She got the back of Maria Agapova, was working on a rear naked choke for a couple of minutes, I would say. It seemed like a few minutes anyway. And then ended up transitioning, I think she was transitioning to an armbar after Maria Agapova got out. And then the round ended. Marina Moroz, same thing sort of happened. Eventually ended up getting the submission. It was like it was a choke, but it wasn't like a rear naked choke. I think it was like more of I don't really know how to explain it, but she choked her out. Post-fight interview as well was very, very emotional. She was talking about the fight week, how she's been worrying about her family over in Ukraine, which is definitely understandable. I think a lot of people, or some people, would have been very emotional watching that post-fight speech. I know I was. Very, very tragic situation going on at the moment. But I'm very happy for Marina Moroz, but she did make me look a little bit stupid because I said the fight was going to take place on the feet, and it didn't. Nick Nagumuranu versus Kennedy Injuku. I don't know what to say about this, guys, apart from I got the pick right. As for the fight sucked. The fight really sucked. Both of these guys didn't really come to bang. I mean, you guys and I both know Kennedy Injuku. He's not an aggressive fighter. He likes to just kind of stand there and control the octagon in the middle on the feet and not really throw anything. But with that being said, both guys did hurt each other at times. Nagumuranu was looking for takedowns. He didn't really get any control time on the ground over Injuku, but he was just the guy. He won the first round because I think he was the guy that came more to fight. He was showing more aggressiveness. Injuku wasn't really doing anything whatsoever. He was kind of just standing in the middle of the octagon, doing not a lot. He also got eye poked as well. Nagumuranu got eye poked twice. The ref took a point at the end, but it wouldn't have made a difference anyway. It was 29-27 to Nagumuranu times 2, and I think like a 28-27, no, 29-27 to, I don't even know. Anyway, Kenji Injuku got the win on someone's card. Nagumuranu got the win on other people's card as well. Not a fight I really care to talk about. Now, this is a fight I do talk about, man. I think a lot of people will disagree with me on this fight because a lot of people would have had money on Marina Rodriguez, so you won't like what I've got to say. But I think Zhaonan won the first 2 rounds. There's definitely no argument for the first round. Zhaonan looked awesome. She was showing much better boxing. Then Marina Rodriguez, and it took for the second round for Marina Rodriguez to kind of wake up. Now, she did outland Zhaonan in that second round, but Zhaonan also got a takedown, some clinch control time. She was landing shots of her own. Yes, I know that a takedown shouldn't do much with it, but she did land some ground and pound off the takedown, so you can't really say she got a takedown and then did nothing after that. I'm not mad because Marina Rodriguez was my pick, but there definitely is an argument to be made for Zhaonan that she won the fight. I do feel bad for Cody from Blood Money MMA Bets, who had money on Zhaonan. And a lot of people were clowning him for that pick, man. That wasn't a bad pick at all. That was actually a good pick in hindsight. Because I do think Zhaonan, man, she's a dog. She's a dog for sure. But I do think she... I don't know, I don't want to throw out robbery because it was a close fight. It was a close fight, so I'm not going to throw robbery out there. But I do think, in my opinion, Zhaonan won 2 of those 3 rounds. But it's a close fight. The second round is the deciding round. I'll have to rewatch it to get my opinion. Marina Rodriguez definitely won the third. I think Zhaonan won the second, but it's that second round that the whole fight comes down to, really. Jalen Turner versus Jamie Malaki. This was the Jalen Turner show. He made me look dumb. I got this fight wrong. Went 9-4 overall, if I haven't said that already. But Jamie Malaki showed that he was a dog in there, though. He was getting pieced up a little bit, but he was still firing back. Definitely at the start, though, Jalen Turner was showing some incredible stand-up in there. And I need to stop sleeping on Jalen Turner. I picked Urosh Medic to beat him. I beat Jamie Malaki to beat him. This has opened my eyes, man. Jalen Turner's legit, dude. And he looks massive in there. He's 6'3" at a 155-pound division. A lot of people talk about how, who's the Spanish guy? Yoel Alvarez is massive. I mean, this guy's also 6'3", Jalen Turner. So that's yeah, man. His record's very deceiving. I said that in my breakdown as well. 11-5, very, very deceiving record. Now it's 12-5 with the win over Jamie Malaki. But, yeah, I thought Jamie Malaki was going to hustle him a little bit. I think Jamie Malaki did get a takedown towards the... Yeah, he did actually get a takedown towards the end of the first round. Jalen Turner was piecing him up on the feet. Well, they were both brawling, really, but Jalen Turner was being very patient in there, even though he was getting strikes thrown back at him. I'm very impressed with Jalen Turner's performance. Only 26 years old. Knocked him out in the second round. The very start of the second round as well. Definitely, potentially a performance of the night bonus is definitely on hand for this one. I'm pretty sure it probably sold a few pay-per-views as well, because this was a banger of a fight. Both guys were throwing at the first round. Jalen Turner definitely got the better of him, especially in the second round, though. Jalen Turner won the first round in a dogfight, and then he knocked him out in the second. Sergey Spivak versus Greg Hardy. I'm going to admit to you guys, I didn't really watch too much of this fight, because I was setting up a stream, like to what Dana White shouldn't be watching this video, but it was buffering, man. I missed most of this fight, but I do know what happened. So Sergey Spivak, as soon as the fight started, he took down Greg Hardy from the clinch position, I believe. Greg Hardy got back up, and then Sergey Spivak took him down again, and then ground and pounded him out. Greg Hardy, dude, is he still going to be in the UFC after this? I don't know, man. Like, the thing with Greg Hardy is he's just KO round 1 or bust, and Spivak won by KO in the round 1. It was a ground and pound KO, so it wasn't like a knockout on the feet. I don't think Sergey Spivak kind of has that sort of power, but Greg Hardy's got nothing on the ground. He really doesn't. Let's just be realistic here. I don't know if the UFC is really going to want to hold on to him anymore, but the thing is, they put him on the main card of a pay-per-view, so they must still think that he's a draw. But what is his record in the UFC if we don't count Dana White's Contender Series? His record in the UFC is 0-1. He's 4-5 in the UFC now, so he's got a losing record with that no contest in there. So I don't know, I guess it's not too bad, but 3-fight losing streak. Two top contenders though. I guess it's not too bad. I don't know who they'll give Greg Hardy now. I don't know if he'll go to Eagle FC and fight Jorge De Castro again for a second time or something, but I don't know, man. Good win for Sergey Spivak. He probably could move up into the top 15 now. I think he was actually on a losing streak himself though before this fight though, was he not? I know he definitely got knocked out by Tom Aspinall, but that was a short notice fight. No, he's on a bit of a win streak actually. You can make an argument that Sergey Spivak could potentially be looking up the rankings, but yeah, for Greg Hardy this is not a good look, especially a first round loss. Kevin Holland, Alex Oliveira. Alex Oliveira is now 2-7 in his last 9 fights, but he won the first round of this fight, man. You can't really forget about that. Kevin Holland did sleep him though. He definitely, well, he slept him and then he ground and pounded out for about 30 seconds and then finished the fight. But the first round was very competitive. Alex Oliveira was showing that he still got it, dude. He really does. Or maybe it was just Kevin Holland being a bit uncomfortable at 170. But I do think that Kevin Holland has potentially found his place here. I know Alex Oliveira, not the greatest opponent prior to this fight. He was 2-6 in his last 8, but he has been in there. He didn't get finished by Nico Price, who was a pretty legit guy to look out for. But Kevin Holland got it done. He knocked out Alex Oliveira. Right hook to ground strike. That's right. I was wondering if it was yeah, definitely he slipped him with I thought it was more of a right straight, a straight right. Maybe I have to rewatch that fight. But no, he slipped him. Alex Oliveira kind of fell down. Kevin Holland, as soon as the fight got to the ground, as soon as Alex Oliveira was in pain on the ground, ground and pounded him out to the end. He started off with some punches. He realized that wasn't going to get the job done. Started with the elbows, and after that, the referee had seen enough, and a win for Kevin Holland. On the other hand, Alex Oliveira, maybe a cowboy versus cowboy rematch. What I mean by that is Alex Oliveira versus Donald Cerrone rematch that happened in a main event of a fight night a long time ago. I can't actually remember who got the job done in that one there, but I think that fight might make sense for him. He is getting older. He's 34 years old. He's a veteran. He has unfortunately shown that he has shown that he can stand and bang with these up and coming prospects, but he's unfortunately shown that he hasn't really been able to beat them. A bit of a losing streak to a bunch of up and coming guys, but he's beating the guys that are veterans like him. So I think that's probably the guys that you got to match up with Cowboy in the future. Kevin Holland though, he came to bang, he won. Do we give him a top 15 opponent at welterweight yet? Maybe, but I think we could throw him in with maybe like Nico Price or something. That would be a pretty interesting fight. Or Michelle Pereira versus Kevin Holland. That would be a great one too. Bryce Mitchell versus Edson Barboza, another fight that I was wrong on. The final fight that I was wrong on the night. Man, Bryce Mitchell destroyed him. Let's be honest. Bryce Mitchell absolutely smoked Edson Barboza. It does kind of suck to say, but Edson Barboza, it was a very weird sort of fight, as in Bryce Mitchell dropped Edson Barboza in the first round. I think we've got to mention that too. And as soon as that happened, I realized it wasn't really going to be the nicest night for Edson. After that, Bryce Mitchell took him down, controlled him for 2 minutes of the first round. The second round comes along, Bryce Mitchell takes him down within the first 30 seconds, is on top for most of the fight. I think Edson got up with about 20 seconds to go, so about 4 minutes plus 2 minutes of control time for Bryce Mitchell. Same thing kind of happened in the third round. Bryce Mitchell probably had like 10 minutes of control time in this whole fight, and he wasn't landing very heavy ground and pound on Edson Barboza. But he was landing ground and pound that was softening Edson up. He cut him up towards the end of the third as well. He just got the job done. He showed that he's unfortunately. The reason why I say unfortunately though is just because Edson Barboza is a legend of the sport, you know, and it just kind of sucks to see these legends lose in such a fashion. But it's good for Bryce Mitchell. He's the younger guy, so he's probably the guy that UFC wanted to win because they can build a name off of him now. He's only 27 years old. I do think eventually, not right now though, I think Bryce Mitchell is going to be ranked like 9th because he was 11, fight number 10. I think he's going to be ranked 8 or 9. Eventually, a great fight in the future would be Brian Ortega. Definitely not his next fight though, but I think eventually we could probably work towards that. I know I think Dan Igue's got a fight scheduled, so maybe Josh Emmett versus Bryce Mitchell would be a pretty good matchup. I think Josh Emmett's like ranked number 6. Am I correct in saying that? Yeah, just give Bryce Mitchell another fight up the rankings, in my opinion, unless someone lower wants to fight him. I know he had a fight scheduled with Movsar Evloev. Maybe redo that. I think that would be a pretty exciting fight. I lied. He didn't have the fight scheduled with Movsar. What am I even thinking? Okay, I'm just really stupid, guys. Ignore my comment. But, yeah, Bryce Mitchell. Prospect to look out for. I was pretty down on him, man. I picked Edson Barboza with a bit of confidence. That's because Bryce Mitchell hadn't fought in a long time. Bryce Mitchell, he hadn't really fought the level of competition that Edson Barboza is, but he made it look easy. You could maybe say that Edson Barboza is done and needs to start looking for money fights. I don't know about that, man. I do think he'll probably still beat a few guys in top 15, but it sucks to say, but I don't think that Edson Barboza is going to have a title run left in him at 145, unfortunately. So I think we just match up Edson Barboza with another older guy at featherweight. Couldn't give you a name off the top of my head, but Bryce Mitchell, move him up the rankings, in my opinion. Give him a guy like Josh Emmett, who I think is ranked number 6. Whoever's ranked like 6 or 7 or so, would be a pretty good fight. Rafael dos Anjos versus Renato Moicano. Personally, I think this fight should have been stopped in the third round, when RDA knocked him down with a head kick and was ground and pounding him out, the referee let it continue. But by then, Renato Moicano was done, in my opinion. And then at the end of the third, they got the doctor to have a look at it. At the end of the fourth, they got the doctor to have a look at it. Renato Moicano wanted to fight. Rafael dos Anjos, man, he was very respectful of Renato Moicano. In that fifth round, he kind of treated it like a sparring session almost. He was just standing with Renato Moicano and just letting the fight play out and letting Renato Moicano go the distance with him. It was a great fight. Renato Moicano took the fight on 5 days' notice. I guess you could kind of say it played out how I predicted it too. Renato Moicano would have about 2 rounds worth of gas tank, and after that he would gas out. But I think RDA showed that he's a legend, man. He's a dog in there. And he's definitely still got it. He's still got it, man. He impressed me. I know it's Renato Moicano on 5 days' notice, an unranked guy, but Renato Moicano's still legitimate, guys. He's still a legitimate prospect to keep your eye on. He is 33 years old, and unfortunately he's going to have to take a lot of time off after this fight. But I do think that maybe even the corner should have sort of stepped in and said something and be like, Renato, man, we're not going to win this fight. Because this is what happened in the first round. I think RDA did win the first round, but Renato Moicano was still competitive. Same thing as the second round, sort of. Renato Moicano, he was still in there, but RDA was taking him down, controlling him, landing ground and pound, just showing off that he's a superior grappler. He also showed off that he's the superior striker as well. RDA kind of had his number wherever the fight went. He was taking him down almost at will, really. Renato Moicano did work his way up to the feet on occasion. But after the third round, when he knocked down Renato Moicano with that head kick and almost finished him on the ground with ground and pound, Renato Moicano was done. I'm sorry, man. He got that eye swollen up. He didn't look like the same man he was when he walked into the octagon. The doctors probably should have stopped the fight in between rounds 3 and 4, or even in between rounds 4 and 5. Renato Moicano had no chance. I think this is kind of where the corner needs to have a look, to step in. Like, if you've got a fighter like Renato Moicano, he's still 33 years old. He's still got a few years left in him to make a run up the rankings. The reality is, man, now he's going to have to take like at least 6 months off, maybe even longer, to recover from those last 2 rounds. If you just threw in the towel in the third round and said, you know what, mate, I'm sorry, but I just don't think that you're going to be able to beat this guy, he would have had a lot less of a recovery, and he could have potentially got a top 15 fight, because I think that's what the UFC is going to do. You do a favor for the UFC does a favor for you. Let's look at Nasrat Haqparast took on Dan Hooker on short notice, put on a pretty good fight as well. They gave him Bobby Green in the main card of pay-per-view. Yes, he lost that fight, but the UFC gives you opportunities that potentially you wouldn't get if you don't take these short notices fight. So Renato Moicano is definitely going to be given a top 15 opponent in the next fight, I believe, because he did this for the UFC. But unfortunately, because the fight was stopped so late, well, it went all the way to the distance, Renato Moicano is going to spend a lot of time in recovery from this fight. As for RDA, rebooked the Rafael Fiziev fight, and I maybe a lot of recency bias. I know a lot of MMA fans, a lot of people like me that make videos, put a lot of emphasis, I guess you could say. I don't know if that's the right word, but a lot of thought on the most recent fight. Rafael dos Anjos looked so good in that fight. I would pick him to beat Rafael Fiziev. I genuinely would. I wonder what those odds on Tapology were. He was the plus 200 underdog. Damn. I don't know if he's going to be plus 200 after that performance. I would pick RDA to beat Rafael Fiziev. He was just taking down Moicano at will, and I do think he'd be able to take Fiziev down as well. He looked like a big boy. I know it was 160 pounds. But RDA, man, I think he's still got it, dude. I do think he would beat Fiziev. I think a fight that a lot of people kind of want to see, a lot of people more are thinking that they might see eventually is RDA versus Conor McGregor, but I don't think Conor McGregor wants that, man. Conor McGregor wants that title shot against Charlie Olives or against what's his name? Justin Gaethje. Whoever wins that fight, I think Conor McGregor is probably going to fight now that Islam Makhachev has to fight Beneil Dariush. I didn't even talk about that. Beneil Dariush, Islam Makhachev, probably going to happen again. Islam Makhachev, though, he turned down the RDA fight after he said he would accept it publicly, so Dana White's not going to give him that title shot anymore. Which kind of sucks for Islam. Like, it does suck, but I guess like it just kind of is what it is. I do think that he does need to prove himself against top 5 fighter anyway. And let's move on to the last fight. Colby Covington versus Gamebred Jorge Masvidal. This was the Colby Covington show. It really was. I do think Colby Covington won at least 4 rounds. There's an argument that Jorge Masvidal won 1 round. I think it was the 3rd round where he dropped Colby. I think he threw like a right. I think it was a right hook that it didn't sit Colby down, but he landed it so perfectly that Colby Covington sort of got knocked down, but he kind of crouched. You know what I mean? He didn't fall back on his back like a proper knockdown or anything like that. But he dropped. He definitely did drop Colby Covington in that round, but he didn't capitalize. I think he was gassed. I do think Jorge Masvidal got gassed out from Colby's constant pressure, his constant takedowns. He was taking down Jorge Masvidal. Jorge Masvidal was standing up. Colby Covington took him down. That's kind of what Colby Covington does. He takes you down. He doesn't really let you back up, but he makes you work to get back up. And as soon as you work to get back up, he just takes you down again. He just wears on you all the time, constantly. He also landed a good amount of ground and pound on Jorge Masvidal as well. It'll be very interesting to see the takedown numbers for this fight. Actually, I might look at that right now. UFC stats. Let's go to UFC stats and see how many takedowns Colby actually landed in that fight, because there were a lot. But Jorge Masvidal, he had success on the feet. And in my opinion though, oops, sorry, this is the wrong card. In my opinion though, I think who was it that said it? It was Kamaru Usman said that the wrestling was going to be closer than Colby Covington expects it to be, and the striking is going to be closer than Jorge Masvidal expects it to be. And that kind of was how it is. Colby Covington showed better stand up than I thought he had. Jorge Masvidal showed better takedown defense than I thought he had as well. So Colby Covington went 6 for 15 on takedowns with 16 minutes of control time. Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that he won that fight. The only round that one judge gave one round to Jorge Masvidal. I think it might not have been the third round. It might have actually been it was the fourth round. Sorry, not the third round. The fourth round, where Jorge Masvidal. I don't think it wasn't an official knockdown, but it wasn't an official knockdown. But he did sit down Colby Covington, and he really hurt him. So maybe the judge saw that moment as enough to steal the round. But it was kind of a Nate Diaz, Leon Edwards moment where he sat him down. And he didn't look at him like Nate Diaz did, but he just didn't seem to have enough in him to finish him off. You know what I mean? He seemed pretty tired. Colby Covington tired out Jorge Masvidal, won the fight pretty convincingly. I think the commentators were talking about a rematch. I don't think anyone's going to want to see a rematch between these two. And if they do a rematch, I don't think that many people are going to be that interested. And I think Colby Covington would probably open as like the minus 500 favorite to win the fight. Post-fight speeches, Jorge Masvidal completely forgot what he said, but I think he just said that he didn't really show up, didn't work on his wrestling that much or something like that. Colby Covington though called out Dustin Poirier's wife and kids and Dustin Poirier. I don't think Dustin Poirier is going to take the fight. I don't think that Dustin Poirier is interested in fighting Colby Covington. Dustin Poirier wants to fight Nate Diaz, because people see Nate Diaz as, at the moment, to be honest, people see Nate Diaz as an easy fight. Dustin Poirier would take on Nate Diaz in like 5 days notice if he was off. You won't take on Colby Covington. I think Colby Covington would win that fight. Sorry. Now the awkward thing about this fight though is, who do you give these guys next? Like, they both fought Kamaru Usman twice. Colby Covington, you can't. Not UFC stats. Oh man, I'm too tired for this. Sorry. They've both fought Kamaru Usman twice, so you can't really give Colby Covington Kamaru Usman again just after one win. But then again, you can't. Like, who do you give? Maybe Jorge Masvidal, Stephen Thompson. I think that would actually be a rematch. It could be a fight that you make. Maybe give Sean Brady Jorge Masvidal to build up his name. I don't think Jorge's gonna want that though. As for Colby Covington, he's already the #1 contender. The winner of Gilbert Burns and Khamzat Chimaev will take that #1 contender place. Vicente Luque and Bilal Muhammad already match up. Like, who do you give Colby Covington now? You can't give him Kamaru Usman because he's already fought Kamaru Usman twice. I think if he wins one more fight, you could argue that he could fight Kamaru Usman, but it just doesn't really make sense. Maybe Jorge Masvidal, Nate Diaz rematch would make sense. Jorge Masvidal versus Wonderboy Thompson could make sense. They're both veterans. They're both old in the game. I think they've actually already fought each other though, haven't they? But this is what I mean, like where do we go from here? What do we do? Who's Colby Covington going to fight? Dustin Poirier probably is not going to want to fight him. Leon Edwards is probably going to fight Usman next, and then Usman's probably going to fight the winner of either Khamzat Chimaev and Gilbert Burns, or the Vicente Luque Bilal Muhammad fight after that. So like what do you actually do with these two? I don't know. We'll just see what happens, but I think maybe Jorge Masvidal, Wonderboy Thompson could be the next one for him. As for Colby Covington, like, he's got no one to fight. He just doesn't have anyone to fight now. Has he fought? I swear he has fought. He's fought Michael Chiesa before and he beats him. Maybe you could rematch them. Maybe they haven't fought each other. Oh, man, I thought that they had, because he was fighting. He has. Sorry, he lost to Stephen Thompson. Maybe you do that rematch. But yeah. Apart from that, I just don't know what you do with these two. Colby Covington versus Dustin Poirier. Maybe if Poirier actually wants it, but I don't think Poirier's gonna want it. I don't think Usman's gonna take Colby Covington on again. But he did say though when he was being interviewed before the fight that Colby Covington he'll be interested in a rematch with Colby Covington or a third fight with Colby Covington, but he wouldn't be interested in another fight with Jorge Masvidal, which kind of makes sense. He dominated Jorge Masvidal twice. Let's be honest. So yeah, we'll see what happens. It's very awkward to see who you match up these guys in the future with. I might do what the MMA Guru does, man. I might make who do we match these guys up with next, but I don't have a thumbnail for that made up, so can't really do that. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. It's a long video. It's a 30-minute video. Damn. Oh, well, I'll see you guys later.